Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between the hills and the edge of a dark mystical forest known as the Whispering Woods, there lived a young girl named Elara. She was no ordinary child. Her curly auburn hair danced in the evening breeze, and her bright green eyes sparkled with curiosity. Every night as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows that danced like playful spirits, Elara would curl up in her cozy bed, eager to hear stories of adventure and magic from her grandmother. But on this particular night, her grandmother had fallen ill, leaving Elara with an empty heart and an itch for tales untold. Unable to sleep, she glanced out of her window towards the Whispering Woods. A chill crept into her room as the ancient trees swayed gently, their branches intertwining like skeletal fingers reaching for the stars. Legends spoke of strange happenings in those woods after dusk, where whispers floated through the air like ghosts searching for something they had lost. Maybe it's just a silly story, Elara thought to herself as her fingers traced the outline of the window frame. But stories have a way of becoming real. Summoning all her courage, she tiptoed downstairs, wrapped herself in a warm cloak, and ventured out into the night. The moon hung high and bright, casting eerie shadows across the cobblestones. With each step toward the forest, the whispers grew louder, swirling around her like autumn leaves caught in a gentle whirlwind. As Elara stepped into the woods, she felt a strange energy envelop her. The air was thick with anticipation, and the branches seemed to lean closer as if they wanted to share secrets. She let out a nervous giggle, shaking off her fears. Amongst the whispers, she heard words that danced on the edge of understanding. "Come play with us. Come play." The voice was soft and melodic, tinged with sadness, driven by pure curiosity and that adventurous spark within her heart. Elara followed the sound deeper into the forest. The moonlight glimmered off the dew-kissed leaves as patches of silver illuminated her path. Suddenly she stumbled upon a clearing adorned with shimmering fog. In the center stood an ancient stone well, its surface covered in moss and wildflowers. As she approached, she could see strange shapes flickering in the mist, small figures with wide eyes and mischievous grins. "Hello," she called out, her voice trembling yet hopeful. "Who are you?" The figures emerged from the fog, revealing themselves to be tiny woodland spirits with translucent wings that caught the moonlight. They fluttered around her, giggling in delight. "We are the lost ones. We play in this forest. We help the moonlight find its way home," they chirped in unison. Elara's heart raced with excitement. "Can I play too?" she asked, eyes wide with wonder. "Oh yes, but beware," one of the spirits warned, her smile fading slightly. "The woods can be tricky at night. Some say shadows come alive when twilight falls." Ignoring the warning, Elara felt exhilarated. The spirits led her on a whimsical adventure. They played games of hide-and-seek among ancient trees, and told her tales of fairies and lost treasures hidden within the roots of giant oaks. Laughter echoed amid the leaves as Elara found joy she'd never experienced before. But as the night deepened, an unsettling chill swept through the clearing. The once friendly whispers turned ominous, like a lulling lullaby warped into a terrifying murmur. "Elara," a deep voice whispered, unlike anything she had heard before. It carried with it an edge of sadness that made her shiver to her bones. "Elara, come closer." The spirit squeaked and flew around her nervously. "It's okay, just stay away from the well," they shouted. But curiosity gnawed at Elara like an insatiable beast. She turned towards the well, its dark opening seeming to pulse under the weight of mystery. A strange mating call whispered again from within its depths. "Come closer, I have something for you." Elara's heart raced. "What do you have?" she called hesitantly. "Your dreams, your desires. voice slithered into her mind, seductive yet dangerous. Shadows began to creep from every corner of the clearing. They danced along the ground with long, spindly fingers reaching out towards her. "No!" The tiny spirits buzzed around frantically. "Don't look into its eyes!" But it was too late. The shadows surged forth as if given life by her very own fears and wishes. They formed faces within their swirling depths, faces of children who had once played in these woods and had never returned home. Elara's breath hitched in her throat as she tried to back away from the well, but phantom hands surged from within its darkness, grasping at her cloak and pulling at her feet like vines, the night filled with dreadful laughter echoing from all directions. "I can show you wonders, treasures beyond your wildest dreams. Just take a leap." The voice beckoned insistently, with tears brimming in her eyes. Elara shouted back at the shadows, "I don't want your treasures, I want to go home!" Suddenly the spirits swirled around her, their light flickering bravely against the encroaching darkness. "Hold on to us! Don't let go!" they cried. Summoning all her bravery, Elara squeezed her eyes shut and felt herself being pulled upwards by the spirit's radiant glow. The shadows writhed around them angrily but could not touch the light. With one final surge, they burst free from the grasp of darkness and soared back towards the village, landing safely outside her home with a thud that echoed through the silence of night. Elara opened her eyes to find herself back in familiar surroundings. The moon cast gentle beams atop her garden as if patting her head with quiet relief. Panting softly, she thought about what she had just experienced. The joy of dreams mingled with horror so close at hand. The whispering woods looked innocent once again, but she knew better now. It held secrets that were not meant for just anyone's curiosity. As sleep finally crept over her tired eyelids, Elara nestled beneath her covers tightly. She vowed to honor stories shared by her beloved grandmother, to tell them often, and never forget that even within our desires lurk shadows that lie waiting in places we dare not tread. And as she drifted into a dreamless sleep somewhere deep within those woods, whispers continued to call, luring wanderers into tales untold and bewitching adventures that might cost more than they could foresee. Thus ended one night's tale, but every shadow still bore a story just waiting for someone brave enough to listen. The end.